Running a little bit late, but we're going to go anyway. You can just open up with a little bit about evaluation of the way the guys played and then preparing for this week.
Okay, evaluation from the Florida game. I thought offensively, I thought we did some good things. Bottom line is we didn't win, so it wasn't good enough. I thought the effort was good. I thought we moved the ball at times effectively. I was impressed with the way our offensive line played and the physical nature that they played with. I thought we were able to run the ball against those guys, which was encouraging. We just had a couple of little mistakes here and there that kind of halted our drives and didn't score as many points as I thought we should have. And then we scored a couple touchdowns late in the game. But I felt that, there were some encouraging things that happened in that game, and we got to take those positives and we got to move forward. Going into this week's game, I think it's a game that's going to be challenging. Georgia Southern is a team that we respect. They're a well-coached physical football team, and we're going to have to match that physicality. I think that it's about us, though. It's about us executing and doing the things that we need to do to make sure that we become a more efficient offense. I think those are the things that we're going to kind of stress this week and make sure that we get those little small details ironed out and make sure that we are doing the things necessary to score more points on offense. I think we're close. I was encouraged with a lot of the things that happened in that game, and I think moving forward, I think those are going to be positives.
Focusing on Nicosa Perry, obviously his first one in the battle. How would you evaluate his performance overall from the game?
Well, I thought he did a decent job. I thought he did a nice job. He was poised. He gave us what we needed. I thought he handled himself in a mature nature. That's one of the reasons why he was named the starter, because he was a guy that had experience. He was a guy that had played in big stadiums and big games and gave us the best chance in that football game. And I thought he did a decent job.
The offensive line kind of gave up a couple sacks here and there, obviously led to a fumble early in the game. Do you feel that that's an anomaly with the offensive line? Do you think it's going to get better? Or do you think it's because it was against Florida, they have a very talented defensive line?
Well, we knew going into that game, one of the best things that Florida did was rush the passer. And we knew that we had to stay ahead of the sticks. We knew that we had to stay in 3rd and 6 or less, or otherwise we were going to give them an opportunity to rush us like that. So I'm not discouraged by what our offensive line did, and our offensive tackle got beat. But I don't see that as something that's going to be a negative or going forward or something that we have to really worry about. I thought they did a nice job overall in pass protection. And they got beat that one time. And unfortunately, it cost us a fumble. But it's not something that I'm concerned about, not something that I think is going to be something that we have to worry about going forward. I think it's just one of those deals that we knew going into that game, if we were in 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 plus, now we're going to play into their hands, because that's one of the best things they did on defense was rush the passer.
The offense had a couple moments where it seemed like they were moving, and then a couple one great mistake, and then the drive is over. And the wildcat formation, the ball was kind of fumbled right there. What do you want to see from those type of play calls? I know you were calling the plays. How did it feel from the uniform plays? And what do you want to see from the coaches?
Well, it's just one of those deals. Like I said, that was one mistake that we made. And those are the things that we got to get ironed out. In order for us to be an efficient offense, we've got to make sure that we eliminate self-inflicted wounds. And that's one of them. So we just have to make sure that we keep executing, keep doing the things that are necessary for us to continue those drives. And as you saw, once we got in the red zone, we scored touchdowns. And that's where we have to continue to grow. So I think going forward, it's something that we're going to stress, something that we're going to do, and then I think eventually we're going to be a good offensive football team.
What would you say about the dimension that Demarcus Adams added to the offense in that particular?
Well, Demarcus Adams is a guy that can stretch the defense, and he gives us a vertical threat, something that we hadn't had. And I've been encouraged by how he's played since he came back to offense. And we're going to continue to use him in certain ways. We're going to continue to put him in situations to allow him to make big plays for us. He's a guy that can really run, and it's somebody that I've been encouraged about the last couple of weeks of having him on offense.
We're heading into the home opener, a couple of days of practice here. What exactly do you want to see sort of be kind of corrected? It seems like Tiger said there's a lot of correctable mistakes on offense that can be made. What do you think about that?
Well, like I said, we're about our execution. We're about the small little details of every single play. Run plays, pass plays, screens, play actions, all those little things have details to them. And like I said, we're close. We're close to really putting it all together and executing at a high level. And there's certain things that we know well, certain things that we do well, and we're going to focus on those things and just keep working on those small little details. And then one game you're going to see it's going to take off, and we're going to hit that mark.
There you go. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Marcus, you want to go first? You could just open up with the moving back from defense to offense and how that affected your game and learning, and then your Florida game. Talk a little bit about your Florida game.
So the transition from cornerback to receiver, it really affected me a little bit, well, just a little bit, because I had to, from the transition, the week forward, I had to learn all the plays and be able to memorize them for the game. So it was like certain things in the plays that I didn't know. So that really set me back a little bit, but overall it was still fine for me. It wasn't really a bad transition. But the Florida game, I really had fun. I think it was I really thank my offensive line for giving Cozy the time to be able to throw me the passes and, like helping us be able to win. Well, not win, but efficiently. Can I just restart?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Morning. Okay, I'm ready. Okay, the transition from cornerback to receiver, it wasn't really as bad as everyone thought it was going to be, but I still have to memorize the plays, and that was still a big part of the game. And for the game plan for me, they gave me a specific amount of plays for me to learn so I can utilize them in the game. And I really appreciate my O-lineman for giving Coachy enough time to be able to throw me the passes, because without them I wouldn't have been able to do the plays that I wanted to, do. So,
I mean, obviously you had a couple late catches that was amazing for the offense, kind of getting territory, keep the offense going. I just kind of wanted to know from you, like, how do you see yourself going forward this season? Do you see yourself, like, how's your chemistry with Coachy?
Me and Coach, we have a great chemistry. Honestly, I feel like we're going to excel this season, and I feel like it's going to be a good one. I feel like it's going to be a big one for us.
Your time at cornerback, did that give you a different perspective that will help you now that you're back?
Honestly, it really did, because it broadened my defensive standpoint, and it gave me better knowledge. So when I'm at receiver, I know exactly where the soft spot and the cushions are. So it just helped me out overall.
You did have a good game against Florida, but it seems like everybody's trying to improve in some sort of way. Where do you see yourself improving?
Improving, honestly, I see myself improving, learning the playbook overall, and just getting better as a receiver.
Anybody else? All right, thank you. Elise may need you. Hang on a second. Let me see. She's recording something with Randy and her.
Good morning. Good morning.
Can you just talk about a little bit of the fun of playing at Florida and how you felt your game went and what you hope to do this next week?
The plan when we was going into Florida, play our game, do as best as we can. Of course, try to get the W, but do what we can. We know there was an SEC school, and we was the underdogs, so we did as best as we could with our game plan. We just needed to eliminate our mistakes. I've seen a lot of potential, but you got to clean up those little mistakes, and we would have won the game. And the outcome or the feeling of the game, it wasn't a disappointing game, but there was a lot to learn from that. And so going into this week, watching film, correcting those mistakes, and make sure we get the job done this week going into Georgia Southern.
we talked about those mistakes. Because obviously the offense, it did move against Florida with promising to see. But firstly, from you, how would you evaluate your performance, and what is the offense doing?
I see it as one chain can't move without the other links. So although I did as much as I could, as with the ball, the offense wasn't able to produce without the whole chain. So my performance really didn't mean anything as far as much as producing for the W. That's it.
Looking into the future, obviously you and the coach connect on the first pass and touchdown to each other. How do you see your connection with the coaches going into the future?
Oh, we're locked in. We are locked in. We watched our film. We know what to expect. So going into this game plan and going into this game is just knowing what to do, knowing our assignments, being on one accord. And I think so far we're getting to that point. We're going to be ready.
Playing against Georgia Southern last year, they like to control the clock and control the game. And, you guys turned it over 4 times against them last year. Your opportunities are going to be limited.
Right.
So does that make it even more important to eliminate the little mistakes this week because your possessions might be only 8 or 9?
It is very much for us to take advantage of the opportunities we get due to the limited factor. They like to chew the clock. They like to take as much time as they need. And so when we do get that ball, we need to be efficient. We need to make our plays, again, be technical sound, and just do the little details right. That's going to get us forward.
Did you guys, it took a little while, it seemed, for the passing game to get in sync. And some of that obviously was due to the level of competition last week. But once you did seem to find that, is that to you an indicator of what this offense can be?
Yes. Because like I said, going to this week, we knew we was going into a big dog game, So just to see us be able to do what we did against Florida, it was more of okay, I see a lot more potential. It's not one of those it's the same thing as last year. No, we can move the ball for sure, and whenever we want to. Not just taking what they give us. We could take everything. So that was something to see.
You had a solid game against Florida, despite the offense maybe not scoring enough points to win the football game. What do you want to see for yourself? What do you think you can improve on?
For myself, going into this game or just overall?
Just
overall. Be more sound, be more vocal with my offense. I know me and Kosi talk, and I talk to my receivers, but just be more vocal for the whole team. Make sure we got our head on straight, make sure we still do the little details right on the sideline, make sure whoever needs to bring that energy needs to bring that energy, because we don't have time to waste. That's it.
Anybody else? All right, thanks, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
I thought we played hard. Kids, prepared well. I think we need to play better, as a whole. I think anytime you play a game, it, kind of reflects where you're at, as a group, where you played well, where you didn't. And playing certainly a team like Florida, exposes some of those things that are good, bad, things we need to improve on. And just disappointed we didn't play the run better than we did a week ago. I thought their quarterbacks, did an excellent job keeping the ball on some read plays that we didn't defend very well, and that was a preparation error, on our faults, as a defensive staff, not having them better prepared for that. But overall, we're just proud of our guys. Thought our pass coverage was good throughout the. We had a couple missed assignments on some coverage stuff. Disappointed we couldn't get any more pressure, but we wanted to try to spy the quarterback a little bit because they are very athletic runners. So, overall it's kind of a mixed bag. I thought we really settled down and played well throughout, the second and third quarters. Got some big turnovers, got a good big fourth down stop in the low red area, but just need to clean up a lot of things as a whole, defensively, and tackle better in space, and certainly Georgia Southern's going to create a lot of the same issues that we saw a week ago in defending the quarterback and defending the option plays. So it's going to let us know if we've improved in those areas.
Like you said, 300, 400 rushing yards against the Florida put on you guys. What do you think it's going to take to kind of fix upon that going into this game? I know they run the football a lot.
Well, we're asking our guys to do, the disciplines that you need to play a team that runs a triple option type of scheme is always difficult. So understanding your responsibility, understanding where your help is, and getting off blocks, running to the football. We're going to have to run, get in the alleys. Safeties are going to have to be big players in this game, and then up front we need to strike blocks. We need to get off blockers. We need our D line to play big up front, and backers going to have to fit the run game and fit their gaps the right way. And if you get out, they're going to expose you. So the disciplines you need, the ability to play physical up front, and then the safeties to know where they fit in the option game.
Coach, distance is always important, but particularly against an option team, the negative plays to get them out of their comfort zone. How big is that this week?
That's always huge. I think when we're being good on first down, putting them in a second and long type of situation, whether that's a 1 yard gain or a no yard gain, it's hard to do against teams like that and getting them in negative yardage. They don't like playing from behind the sticks. They want it 2nd and 5, 3rd and 2. Those are the ways these teams like to play. So being good on first down is going to be critical, for us to try to put them, in some uncomfortable situations where it favors us a little bit more than them.
Coach Taggart said Chase Lassiter was back on Monday. How has he been since he came back, and is he a guy that you expect to start on Saturday?
Well, we expect Chase to be a contributor in this game. This is Chase was doing well before he was held out last week. So he'll work his way back up the depth chart, and Chase is a guy that we'll always rely on, and hopefully he gives us some help at that outside linebacker defensive end position.
But he won't be back. He won't be a starter next week.
No.
Leroy was a guy that obviously in 2019 he obviously was one of the best defensive players on the team. 2020 he missed, and obviously you can see on Saturday that he did a lot of great plays. Is he going to be a starting guy you look at in the future, or is it mostly
Who's that?
Akileis Leroy?
Oh, he's in the rotation. Coach Thompson likes to rotate those guys, and yeah, he's working his way. He's starting to get comfortable in our system, and he's starting to make plays. So he's starting to understand what we need him to do, and he'll continue to, as he progresses, become more of a factor in our defense.
Georgia Southern played a couple quarterbacks last week. They started with one, and then you brought in a true freshman, Cameron Ransom. What have you seen out of the quarterbacks? What challenges do they present?
Well, they threw the ball probably, I think it was 20 times, which is probably maybe double than what they're used to throwing it. They probably 10 to 12 would be, in their range. But they're a little bit more traditional maybe with him. The option isn't as prevalent when he's at quarterback. They threw it a little bit more with him. He's probably more of a passer. He's a big kid, but they're going to run their offense regardless of who's there. But they're a little more traditional with him at quarterback.
And have you touched on Ahman Ross yet?
Yeah, Ahman was missed some time during camp, and is working his way back as well, and be a bigger part of the game plan obviously this week.
When you're playing an offense that doesn't throw the football as much, and their job is really to run the triple option as well as they do, how important is it for you guys to get them into those early second and longs, third longs?
Well, that's why I always think first down's probably as critical as anything. They're down, but they're all critical. But trying to get a team like this behind the chains is obviously important. they want to throw on their terms. You making them throw on our terms gets a little bit, better for us. But they still run the ball on third down and keep you off balance. So you have to be able to be prepared for a lot of different things. Look at their tendencies, what they want to do, and have a plan that can give you the best opportunity to stop it, whether they want to run or they want to throw.
Anybody else? More. We're starting more.
Mm-hmm. So just with camp, it was just a grind. Just learning a new position, ironing out the fine details, within that position. And as far as just working my way back into it, I just take it on as a challenge. Working every day to get better. It's not a strike on anyone else, taking anything else from anybody else. It's just me focusing on me, getting better 1% every day, and that's just the main focus.
Good.
What kind of things are you looking at to improve on to stop the run against Georgia Southern? Obviously, they're a very run-heavy team, so that's an important thing to be looking at.
Yeah, the biggest thing as far as with Georgia Southern is focusing on run fits and just being disciplined. Eye discipline. Those are key factors with stopping the triple option team. Those things can be very hectic. They have a lot of moving pieces in any given play. So just knowing your keys, reading your keys, and knowing exactly where your eyes need to be is going to take you right to the ball. So just run fits and then eye discipline.
They have a new freshman quarterback in Cam Ransom, so obviously they've had some changes since the last time you guys played them. Mm-hmm. What kind of things have you saw from them that you need to change from last time you played them to this time with how their new offense looked last week against against Gardner-Webb?
Mm-hmm. Well, we've seen some things, as far as we seen some new things, and we've seen some things that we played last year that was kind of the same. So, but just like I said before, the biggest thing is with those guys is just following your keys, reading your keys, because they have a lot of moving pieces. They give false reads sometimes, as far as their triple option formations. So it's just minimalizing those small things and just understanding what they do and what they like to do. So just picking up on tendencies and picking up on things in film, anything we can take going into the game as far as a key, as a nugget, we're always going to pay very close attention to that. So just understanding your keys and understanding where your eyes need to be.
According to Coach, you obviously missed a couple of practices heading into Florida, and now you're pretty much fully ready to go. I just wanted to know what the difference is from last week to this week when it comes to your game.
Well, last week to this week to the game is obviously different, because of the opponent, just the opponent that we're facing. Florida, they gave us a lot of various different looks, and within Georgia Southern, it's going to be that option style football. Just with any type of option style football with Georgia Southern, and obviously we're going to play Air Force in the upcoming weeks. But with option football, it's just the biggest thing is always going to be discipline. You can always see so many things, but if you see a lot, you don't see nothing. You see a lot, you see a little. You see nothing, you see a little, you see a lot. We learned that from Monty Kiffin. So just understanding that. With option football, you always have to be disciplined with your eyes and just with your keys. If you see the big picture, you're not really going to see anything at all because they have so many pieces moving any and everywhere. So just understanding your keys and focusing, locking in on your assignment is going to be the best option for you.
How important was it to get last year's game against Georgia Southern? How much do you take from the game?
Oh, that game was very important because it gave us a basis of what we could see possibly again this year because they're pretty. They like doing what they do. They've been doing it for a while. As far as the option football, so it gives us a basis of where we were last year. But granted, we're playing a different defense this year, so we still see some of the same looks as far as the film. But it just gives us a basis of where we want to look at and where we want to go. But it does help, having that experience playing against those guys last year and knowing some of those guys over there.
Last year they played last week they played a couple quarterbacks. Started with one and then they were in some. I think they kept your split up. Does that change it anymore? Having to deal with potentially 2 or 3 different quarterbacks?
No. We prepare for all. We get the scout report, we get the depth charts, and we understand who we have at quarterbacks, and we understand with certain numbers and certain personnel what they do like to do and how they are as players. So, I do give a credit to our coaching staff, for breaking that down, breaking those numbers down, those tendencies down, and just understanding the personnel. It's always going to be good because whoever comes in at quarterback, we're going to know exactly what they like to do. So just accrediting our scout reports and everything that we go into our preparation, we're going to be ready.
You know, obviously the team sees you as one of the leaders, one of the veterans of the team. I just kind of wanted to know your evaluation of the defense from game one, and maybe the biggest mistakes that you think to be corrected.
The biggest thing, you know, as a defense, you know, we always want to put an emphasis on tackling. You know, that's we gave up too many yards in the run game and just tackles. But you know, with the defense and with any team, you know, the biggest growth can come from week 1 to week 2. So just understanding that and knowing that, that's why we don't get complacent at any time, good game or bad game. We don't get too down on ourselves because we know at the end of the day we're going to be blessed with another opportunity to go out there and show ourselves again. So just understanding that growth from week 1 to week 2, we understand that we have a big task on us this week as far as option football, and we're ready to take it on.
Anyone else?
Well, you know, I really had to control a lot of what I was thinking last Saturday because, you know, of course, first game back in almost a year, almost 2 years, and it was almost like a dream come true almost. Being able to be back around my teammates, you know, be in the atmosphere that makes me most comfortable playing ball, and just the preparation going into this week, you know, same mentality as every week, you know, go 1-0 when Saturday comes, or whether our game is on Friday or Saturday. We're just going to take our opponents. We don't take our opponents lightly. Work day. You know?
Any extra feeling on playing a team from your home state?
You know, I try not to think about it, but it definitely means a little bit more because, you know, it's like you said, from Georgia, home state. You know, I've been watching Georgia Southern for a while, so I have a history of watching those guys and seeing their scheme. And of course, they change some things up, but at the end of the day, they still get back to what they like to do, and that's run the ball.
You know, like you said, 2019 you had a great season. 2020 you did miss it. You came back. You call it a dream, like you said. I just kind of wanted to know, you know, how would you evaluate your performance in your first game back? You know, was there some rust on your part?
Honestly, I always feel like there's more to improve in my game. So I never get complacent on how I play or the plays that I make. I try to look at what I didn't do and see what I can do next time to make that play or make the next play after that.
QP, last week was your first game back. This week is your first home game back. How good is it going to feel to be back in front of the FAU crowd in the stadium?
And I just waiting to feel the atmosphere. I'm actually getting chilled once you ask that question. My first time feeling something as far as playing in our stadium was a scrimmage that we had a couple of weeks ago before the first game, and I just remember standing out at the back gate in our locker room, just staring at the stadium, and just remember how good it felt to hear the crowd roar. So, you know, I'm just looking forward to that experience again, and can't wait for Saturday.
You said you watched a lot of Georgia Southern's film, and you also got to see them play FAU last year. You obviously didn't play in that game, but what kind of ways have you watched their film from that particular game and tried to see how you can insert yourself there and kind of things you'd want to do against that Georgia Southern offense?
Watching the game from last year, you know, we had defensively it was a pretty good game. We had a pretty good scheme, and like Ahman said, you know, of course we have a new scheme, new defensive scheme, but this scheme I feel like fits. It could, like, I don't see a lot of big plays or a lot of X plays coming out of our defense. And watching film on these guys, it's almost taking it personal. Because I know just as bad as the guys wanted from last year, I wanted just that much. I just feel like everybody has to be locked in. You know, it's a different mentality stepping into this game, especially being the first home game and then being the Georgia Southern. You know, it's two things. We lost to them last year, and we have a home game. So, you know, it's a different level of intensity at practice. Another work day, you know. So we're just gonna step in with our suitcase and our suit and tie, adjust what we need to adjust.
You know, like Coach Stoops said, and Ahman was just talking about earlier, how, you know, this is a triple option offense. What, you know, for you specifically, what are you looking out for when you're on the field against an offense like that likes to run the ball a lot, throw trick plays at you? What are you looking for?
We just have to read your keys and you know, just be disciplined. if you don't have any discipline against a triple option team, you're gonna be everywhere. It's almost like a puzzle that you don't know where the pieces go. Everybody has to be on one accord, so all the pieces can go together and you can see the bigger picture. So as long as everybody does their job and we communicate the way we need to, everybody just has that discipline, I feel like we'll have a great defensive night on Saturday.
You played the running quarterback last week. You actually played 2 of them. Do you take anything from playing Andrew Johnson and Andy Richardson that you can kind of carry over into this week? Do you think it's completely different schemes?
Me personally, as far as running quarterbacks, just have independent feet, and that goes a long way with any position really, because they can get us an open field, and you never know what they can do. They can pitch it, they can keep it. So you just have to be disciplined once again, but not so much mental discipline, it's physical discipline. So we just have to make sure they play by play, down by down. We just do what we need to do.
You always want to get as many people the ball as possible, but this offense will force you to make one-on-one tackles. So, especially early in the season when you don't tackle a lot in camp, does that get emphasized, or
definitely
not missing those one-on-ones?
Oh yeah, definitely an emphasis, and then along with emphasis comes mentality. So I feel like we're trying to make sure everybody's on the same accord mentality, with the same mentality. If everybody comes to the game with a physical mentality, ready to tackle, not feeling like, okay, well, I know I have a one-on-one. If you have that mentality like, okay, I'm not going to miss this tackle. If we can depend on each other piece by piece, and there won't be any struggles as a defense as a whole. So, it's looking pretty good for our defense. I trust a lot of guys on our defense, and I'm pretty sure they trust me as well. So as long as we have that trust factor, I feel like we'll be perfect.